Hello, and welcome back to We're Not So Different, a podcast about how we've always been idiots. My name is Luke Waters, and I'm an amateurish historian, and as always, I'm joined by Dr. Eleanor Yanniga, who is anything but. Today we got a special guest on the show, and that means no question, since we have a guest. But we do have the Patreon, patreon.com/WNSDpod, $5 a month. You guys know the drill. We got a new episode coming out on Friday about current event stuff. You will enjoy it. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to the show. Since the dawn of history, mankind has been consumed with one question, a query so overawing and preoccupying that it has motivated much of human development toward the common aim of answering this one thing. What are the criteria for being a dad? Like any great question, it has a deceptively simple answer at first. You just come in a lady and she has a kid later and, bam, there you go. You successfully propagated and are therefore a dad, or maybe just a father. And yet the study of historical dads and our own personal lived experiences prove this to be insufficient. A dad isn't just a donor of seed. That's more of a father thing. It is a thin distinction perhaps, but it is a real one nevertheless. A dad is someone who does more than just throwing you headlong into conscious existence. They guide you and lead you and raise you and probably have a box or drawer filled with assorted power cables that fit roughly 78% of all electronic devices made since 1988. And dozens of assorted lengths of Cat5 and HDMI cables. God, I have a lot of HDMI cables. Or, whatever the prehistoric, classical, medieval, or early modern versions of that may be. But I could never possibly answer such a question on my own, which is why I've assembled two great minds to hash this out once and for all. First is Dr. Eleanor Yanniga, who you might remember. You might remember her from such podcasts as the one you are listening to at this very moment. And the second is Dr. Patrick Wyman. You might remember him from such podcasts as The Fall of Rome, Tides of History, and The Pursuit of Dadliness. Okay, I can't continue this fake McLaughlin group intro bit for any longer. It's a very long way of saying we've got friend of the show and three-time returning guest, Patrick Wyman, to talk about dads, medieval dads, his new podcast, and more. Patrick, how the hell are you?
I'm having a day. I'm ready to talk about. I'm ready to talk about some dad shit. I'm actually very excited. Got some stuff to work out here as we're.
Let's do it. Yeah.
No, I'm really
Catharsis.
stoked. Yeah, it's so good to talk to you guys again. I love chatting with you. I'm really stoked to dive into this topic.
Hell yeah. Well, we're glad you're back. So you got a new podcast out called The Pursuit of Dadliness, wherein you talk to different guests about modern day dad culture. So, what qualities, interests, and odd obsessions constitute a dad in your mind?
So I really think it's the quality of not having to give a shit what other people think about your hobbies and interests. Like there's, as you know, as a dad, there are times when you just have to touch the shit, right? Like there's going to be shit and you have to touch it and there's no way around it. There's no, there's no alternative. There's no, like, I can weasel my way out of touching the shit. You have to touch the shit. And that's a metaphor for life in the sense that as a parent, you have had to touch a great deal of shit. And when you've had to do that, you realize that other people's opinions don't matter nearly as much as you thought they did. And that there is you are allowed to just like things that you like for the sake of liking them. You're allowed to I'm allowed to binge watch fucking Clone Wars again for the fourth time. It rules. I love it. It's a masterpiece animated series.
The long one or the micro series?
No, the long one.
They're both really good.
The long one.
They're both really good. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, I that's like I'm gonna watch all the Clone Wars. Like, and I'm not gonna be embarrassed about it. I'm not gonna this is a thing that I like, and I think it's cool as hell. I like a mild edible, and I like the stuff I like, and that's okay. And I think that is a privilege that is afforded to the dad-coded far more than it is most segments of our society. It is one of the privileges of being a dad. And one might say one of the duties of being a dad is to pass on to your kids the idea of being passionate about things and like actively liking things, right? Like, I don't think there's anything sadder than the dad who goes and plays golf but hates it, but does it because it gets him out of the house and away from his family. Like you don't like. What kind of what the example that you're setting is not like you should take up a skill or play a sport or play a game because it's fun and it's worthwhile and it's rewarding to you. It's purely to get you away from people. Like, I think that is the saddest thing. And I think that is, even though that is a kind of a dad coded behavior, I think that is the opposite of dadliness, if that distinction makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
No, it does. Yeah. I think, for me, one of the things that I see with people, and it kind of makes me sad, is like people who, who obviously love something, but can't really, but don't really want to like admit that they love it in the way that they want to kind of like downplay it or be like, it's, oh, it's actually awful or something like that. And like, won't be honest about like, who you are and what you like, like I think like, I don't know, it was, sometimes a few years ago, 10 years ago or whatever, probably longer, I realized that I'm never going to be cool. Like, I'm not going to be cool. It's not a thing that I am, and that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with who I am, but like, so like, I don't have to worry about being like, oh, I don't, oh, I only like this ironically or something like that. It's like, no, whatever it is, I like it. Some of it, some of it's kind of, I'm kind of like, well, it is what it is. But like, you love the things you love, and
Look,
and then sometimes it gets foisted upon you, and now like all of the background lore to like some show your kid watches, and you're just like. I'm going to go insane. This is
I think that's an important lesson I learned from my dad. So this is like a very, millennial coded thing. But like, do you remember the 90s when you would like go to the thrift store and like intentionally buy like ugly polyester shirts? Mm-hmm. And that was like the thing to do. And I was rather, partial to like getting hold of an ugly polyester shirt. Right. Mm-hmm. And I remember my dad saying to me, dressing ironically is like a stupid idea because it's ugly. Like, you're doing it because it's ugly, and so you're still wearing something ugly, but you're like making it okay through irony. And I remember being like, huh. like an important dad lesson, right? Like having that kind of like sink in. So it's like, an unashamed embracing of something that you like. I think that is quite valuable, and as is sort of like the opposite, right? Like shedding off of irony. Yeah.
When I was a kid, my dad played beer league softball. Like played a lot. Like was constantly playing beer league softball. This was his major social outlet, and their team was like not that great, but they liked to play, and they had fun, and they drank beers, and like their guys were dipping and smoking in the dugout. Like they were having a fucking ball doing this. Yeah. And I will always remember my dad wearing these like short, tight shorts, like very short shorts. Very tight shorts. And then also just like sliding with reckless abandon around the bases. So he's just like torn all the skin off of his knees, and he's wearing these shorts that barely go halfway down his thighs. And like, I thought at the time that he looked kind of ridiculous. And I thought for years that he looked kind of ridiculous. And not, but in recent years I've been like, fuck it. Man had nice legs. Like, he liked throwing himself around the base paths. Like, maybe he wanted the other wives to see his junk. I don't know. Like, I can't speak to that. And if that's the case, like, you know what, man, fucking go for it. That's all right. Yeah. Like live your life, bro.
I gotta say, like as a heterosexual woman, bring back the short shorts. Mm-hmm. Love that for me. Like, my abiding interest in Australian rules football has a lot to do with the shorts.
Yeah. Hoochie Daddy shorts are really having a moment.
Yeah, I bring it back.
I support it.
We must return. We must return. God damn it!
This is the UPS guy is sex symbol.
Yeah, exactly.
I long to do to have one of those things where it's not softball because I don't care that much about it, but like I need to find that thing and just be like, yep, this is what I do now. This is my one social outlet.
Have you considered, is there recreational curling around you? I
feel like
they don't
curling
have a
could be
lot
fun.
of that in Florida. I feel like I would be good at it though. I'm good at anything where you have to like bocce, cornhole, anything like that. Like I'm good at that.
I feel like curling, that's a real.
You could be good at.
That's like a stoner sport. I could see like getting mad high.
Oh man,
and just like brushing some ice.
You're out on the ice with a broom. Like that's you're trying to engage in like a proprioception task. You're trying to like gauge distance. Like this is that strikes me as the perfect high thing to do. Like jujitsu, but less dangerous.
Yeah.
Because like everybody who does like 90% of the people who do jujitsu are high, if not while doing it, then before and or after.
Yeah.
And I feel like curling probably quite similar in that regard.
Yeah. See, my dad was a martial arts guy, and story checks out. So, which was an interesting gambit in a household of 4 kids, right? It's like my sister, she didn't do it so much, but then we all started doing martial arts because dad did martial arts. And like I would say that like my high school experience was basically like a Royal Rumble, where it was like you never knew, like the moment you came around a corner, and we all did something different. Like I did Wing Chun, my brother Nate does kendo, and my youngest brother did Muay Thai. And it would be like you just come around and you just like get a fucking like leg to the head, and he'd be like, "God," and it was just like very. And I don't, God bless my mother for putting up with it, but we were all really like we were about it. We were about getting it, like, and it's directly a result of what dad was into,
This is one of the great lessons a father can provide to his children, or a dad rather, is keep your fucking head on a swivel, man. Like that's life. That's life. And I think that is that applies throughout history. Dads always try to keep their kids' heads on a swivel. That is an ideal dad thing down through the ages.
Yeah. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to be ready for anything. You can't. You got to play to the whistle, whatever that means in any context. I don't want to see you giving up on the play out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, yeah.
I can just imagine like walking around like the hall and walking through a doorway, and your dad just like gives you like a kick like right to the chest, like like just right across the chest. He's like, you gotta be prepared when you go through the hall.
Well, like, I gotta say, like, it was very useful in terms of, like, I'm very good specifically with dealing with those forms of martial arts, and I gotta say, like, there's a difference. Like, Muay Thai, it's much more like, it's you're out at a distance, and Wing Chun's a close in one. So I got really fucking good at getting inside. Like, is one thing, right? So, like, I'm very, like, and my youngest brother is, like, he's, like, 6'4" or something, too. So it's, like, it's no joke out here. It was, like, you would get, like, broomstick leg to the head. And now I can be like, oh, what's up now? Like, I'm very fast at getting inside and being like, so, it worked,
And look, your dad created an environment in which you know how to aggressively apply pressure in a fighting situation. This is, that's dad shit right there.
Yeah.
That's elite dad shit.
This is, what, it's South Tacoma coded, it's dad coded, it's, it's what's up. That's it, Like, feeling very filial in my parents' house, right now. What can I say?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I'm going to start doing this to my 5-year-old. My wife's going to be like, what the fuck is wrong?
So she can't see, no slipping. All right.
Yeah,
not
no
in this
slipping
house.
In this house.
If any child of mine's gonna know how to throw hands.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
I did make the mistake of showing my son like how to properly hold his hands up and throw a punch, and probably a mistake.
Oh yeah, you'll be paying that for years to come. Congrats.
He used when he was little, he would just uppercut me right in the nuts on a regular basis.
Oh, they do that all the time. Like that. Like my daughter, it was like 2 days ago, and she was like running. I was like sitting on a couch, and she was like kind of running and like jumping on me, and then like she bounced off and do it, and she runs in, just knee directly into my balls, and I was just and I was like, oh, and she's like, well, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. It's fine. It's fine. Like,
you can't show weakness, Luke. You can't show weakness.
There's no way I can explain this to a 5-year-old, like, and make it make sense in a way that's not going to invite so many other questions that I'm just going to want to crawl into a hole.
And then you don't want to deal with that while your nuts are hurting either.
No.
You know?
No, I was like, oh, you just hurt my leg, baby. It's fine. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Okay, like I have to say, like I am like Homer Simpson, and I'm basically like man getting hit by football. Like as far as I'm concerned, that's like the peak of humor. So sorry for directly laughing at your pain, Luke.
No, it's funny. It is funny. It's funny how like it's either they're at the right height for it, or like especially like sons with dads. Like I don't believe in like gender as a construct and all that sort of stuff, but there is something to the fact that like every son tries to kill their dad, even if they don't mean to. Like you just be I remember when I was a kid and my dad would be laying like on the floor watching TV, and I would get on the couch behind him and elbow drop him like it was wrestling, and like he's just like, and like I'm like, well, we're just wrestling. We're just having fun. What's going on?
Oh, I hit my dad in the nuts with a plastic baseball bat when I was 4. Like really really got him with it. Like he was on the ground like minutes before he got up. And that's and look, that's the circle of life. My son did that to me, but just straight up with the uppercut, like caught it at just the right angle. I was down for an extended period of time. Like that's the nature of things. And he loves to take running jumps onto my bed while I'm either sleeping or half asleep. And so every once in a while I'll just be welcomed into the world of wakefulness by a knee hitting me right in the fucking nuts. Like
nice.
Full speed.
Well, you're awake now.
Yeah, and the problem is the boy's got hops. Like he's getting air underneath him, so it's not like he's catching me at the top of the arc. Like he's getting up and coming down, like which not only provides a better angle but substantially more force.
Yeah, it's the parabolic curve. He's like, yeah, I'm over the top. Let's go.
the boy is a lot of things, but untalented at destroying my balls is not one of them.
Kids, they're so good at it because for a long time they're just the right height for it. Like they like they'll be like, uppy, and they'll just like throw their hand up, and you're just like, oh, no uppy right now, baby.
Yeah, daddy has other concerns.
Yeah. So I mean, we're talking about it here, joking around, but like, when you're talking about being a dad, do you have to have conceived a child, to be a dad in this case, to be?
Absolutely not. They're like merely having contributed, like your seed does not a dad make. There are plenty of people who are technically fathers who I would say are not dads in the cultural sense. There are plenty of cultural but non-practicing dads who do not have kids. Like one of the most dad-coded dudes I know does not have biological kids of his own, but he has a stepson. And he is like, and that man is a fucking dad if ever there has been one on the face of the planet. Like doing fun stuff with your facial hair, strongly dad-coded. Strongly dad-coded behavior. Like this guy is mustaching, he's bearding, like that's all of it, So it's absolutely not required. I think what really defines it to me is just kind of sinking into that state of mind that allows you to enjoy stuff without having to worry about being cool, without and the idea that doing that stuff, and also like trying to be good at it or trying to learn a lot about it, that there's some value in that pursuit, right? Like that there's something valuable about cultivating a thing, whatever that thing is, and that what you're doing in that moment is modeling that for your kids, right? You're modeling that there is something that like finding it within yourself to like a thing and pursue a thing, that without there being an external pressure to do so, because none of this stuff is like necessary. Like I don't have to know Star Wars lore, man. Like that, like nobody is saying you gotta learn this stuff or like even like knowing how to do practical stuff. Like you can hire a handyman to fix something, but like I want to know how to do that, and I want to be good at doing it. Like that's the part that matters. It's the wanting and needing to demonstrate competence at a thing, which is how we always get the trope of the dad fucking stuff up, right? Like, is that it's the Chevy Chase and Christmas Vacation with the goddamn Christmas tree. Like that's that incredibly dad coded stuff. But if you're not going to find yourselves in those situations, which are objectively hilarious and do happen quite often, unless you try. And like, there's something to be said for just trying. And I think that like that kind of stuff is like dads have the freedom to do that, to try and fuck up in a way that is like, there is no expectation of perfection from a true dad. I don't think there's an expectation that you try, and quite often fail miserably in ways that put you in the hospital, but you're going to try.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, with me, like I can do some handy stuff, but, like the thing in the sink, the
garbage disposal,
the garbage disposal. Yeah. It, started smoking and blew up, and I was like, nah, man, I'm dad enough to know when I'm licked here. And, like I looked up a video on it, and it was like, install this in like 3 or 4 hours. I was like, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you to the guy who, is doing his damnedest to narrate that and like steady cam and everything while he's installing one. But like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
What's the point of living in this late capitalist dystopia with incredibly specialized skills if we're not going to call upon the guy with incredibly specialized skills to stick his hands in the garbage disposal? Like, there's only one way that process is going to end, at least for me, which is with the thing not fixed and probably me having incurred some sort of injury. Like, that's the only way that's going.
I'm terrified of garbage disposals. Like
they're terrifying.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. No,
they're fucking. No, it's fucking wild that you just have like a blade. Like you just have like a blade in in the middle of your sink.
Churning, spinning blades. They're not motionless blades. Like those blades are doing stuff.
No,
insane. Yeah. We've talked a little bit about it, but like when some of the dad coded stuff you're talking about, maybe you have like a kid, it may not be your kid, or you like mentor someone or something like that. So like what are the dad parts that you're focusing on in the show when it comes to like mentoring and like maybe the serious stuff in addition to the like all the fun stuff like loving Star Wars or Warhammer or whatever it is?
I mean, I think the biggest things that you can do for your kids outside of the basic material stuff, like providing them with a safe and secure environment in which to live, enough food, shelter, like the basic like Maslow's hierarchy of needs shit. I think the best thing that you can do is model positive behavioral patterns for your kids, right? Like it's really easy to parent your kids in such a way that you're making them do stuff to hit necessary markers, right? Like you got to learn to do this. You got to do your homework. You got to do this activity. You got to do like whatever. Like there are all of these external reasons to do those things. And we are surrounded by external reasons to do them. What's much harder and I think more valuable to model for your kids, and part of the reason why like you can lean into the fun side, is that there is teaching them how to have the drive and desire to pursue a thing on their own, and to see a thing as being valuable for its own sake, and not because there is external pressure or an expectation that you do that thing. I think it's not the only thing that like parents have to do for their children, but I think that thing in particular is something that we can control and focus on. And it can be an anchor point for a better relationship with your kids, and also honestly a better relationship with yourself, because like parenting often is hard and sucks in a whole variety of ways. And so finding a thing that you can lean into and embrace, I think there's a lot of value for that in ways that spills outside of the thing itself. So, but yeah, I mean, like in terms of doing the hard stuff, like I mentioned, like, you know, you got to touch the poop, you got to touch the shit. Like that is also like doing an unfortunate but necessary thing, I think is, and doing it willingly without bitching and complaining about it. Like, I think that's also a valuable skill to have and to model for your kids. It's just like nobody cares that it's unpleasant for you to pick up the shit. Like, it's just a task that has to be done because you can't leave shit lying on the floor. Like, you can't, this is just something that has to get done. And so, you know, when it's like, well, who's going to do the thing? Like, might as well do it. Like, just go and do it. Don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Just go do the unpleasant thing. And so I think those are kind of flip sides of the same coin, right? Like they are actions, they are concrete actions that you can take to make your world a better and more livable place. And that is something that the kind of cultural expectation of dadness allows you to lean into. Like there are all sorts of conversations to be had about whether some of these expectations and ideas and norms are good or not. Like, I think there are a lot of questions to be asked and explored about kind of the nature of masculinity at this particular point in time, and like the collapse of a whole idea of father as provider and that being the thing, right? Like, I think there's a lot to be asked about that. And so at this point in time, if it's not that, and I think we're all fairly well in agreement, at least among those of us having this conversation, that like that kind of patriarchy is bad for everybody, including men, that having something else and leaning into the idea of doing without that being your reason for existence as a figure in a family, I think it allows you to make a transition, right? Out of the less healthy way of doing dadness and masculinity to something a little bit more positive, like not flawless, not perfect, like, but better.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. I think, you know, the thing, like, children are inured to the patriarchal aspects of our society, as we were as children, you know, things that were ingrained on us, you know, on deeper levels than we even remember. You know, even if you have the best parents, actual parents in the world who, you know, raised you to be an open-minded person, it can, you know, it can still seep in there. And so, like, I think, you know, what you're talking about, Patrick, like, it is extremely necessary and useful to be cognizant of that, and, you know, embrace whatever role in the family or community or whatever that you have, and, you know, embrace that as, you know, something openly, and not as, you know, like, if you're the one in the family that has to work, you know, then, you know, you do provide in this way, but, you know, your spouse also does these things, you know, and you can reinforce that stuff. And so it's not just like, well, I go out to work and that makes me the most important and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
There's what you're saying makes me think, because I agree with it, is there's something, it's not that roles themselves are necessarily bad, like that we are good at different things, we can do different things and be and you know, be more competent at them. It's more efficient sometimes for some people in a family to do something as opposed to others, because at a basic level, a family is a unit for doing shit. There's just shit that needs to get done, right? Like, you've got, like, you have tasks that have to be completed. And the idea that some people are better or faster at doing some of those tasks than others, or they're more suited to them, or they're happier to do them, and you might as well do the thing that makes you feel better, right? Like, but those do not have to be bound up with these incredibly gendered norms and expectations of behavior. Like, that you can, like, dad can do laundry, like mom can fix shit. That's entirely fine. Like it doesn't have to like those do not have to be tied up with gender roles, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of value in modeling that for your kids to the extent that you can. Like even if you're determined to raise your kids that way, you're still going to have to deal with your kids coming home and saying shit like, well, that's a girl thing to do, or that's a boy thing to do. Like, because they will pick it up. They're not like they're little.
It's
social
inescapable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't escape culture.
It's inescapable in the modern context, and you can't you can't do that. So you just have to do your best to take it apart on the back end, I guess, because like they hear a kid at school say that, or comes on TV or something, and you just have to be like, okay, well, not great. Let's move it. Let's not talk about it like that. So Patrick, you talked about this, and a lot of this seems like kind of like a modern conception of what it means to be a dad, but like, does this also apply to historical dads? Have they always been around? Or they're hunter-gatherer dads who are just like, screw it, I like carving my little weird figurines and I'm going to do it. And what are we looking at here with the historical fathers or dads?
I think they absolutely exist, and I think it's unfortunate that we can't see more traces of them in the record, because the nature of the evidence does not lend itself particularly well to that. But I don't think, at least in my sense of how history works, given that different ages have different understandings of masculinity and gender norms and ideas of what like roles different genders are supposed to perform, whatever. Like, I don't think there's any harm in imagining guys of history and dads of history. Like, I think it would be far more surprising to me if that was not a thing, if like dad coded behavior of some kind and like eccentric dads was not a thing that existed throughout the past. And I think you can see occasional traces of it. And like, even if it's just stuff like, weird preferences. Like, there are 2 alewives in the village, and this dad refuses to buy ale from one of them because he thinks the others is better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's like dad only drinks Rainier beer. He refuses to drink Keystone. Right?
Oh my God.
It would be that kind of thing, which I 100%, or like dad brags about how far he could shoot a longbow in his youth. Like
Well, I could shoot it. I could shoot it 400 feet, bro. They don't even shoot that. I could shoot it 415.
Okay, man. You can imagine the guy standing there at the archery butts, like holding his bad shoulder, being like, "Oh, you wouldn't believe what I could do."
Back in my day,
yeah. You could, and for that matter, you could imagine a medieval uncle who's standing there doing the same shit, but without kids because he's an alcoholic, right? Like this, and his life is not going great. Like, there's from my way of thinking about this, and I just think like it doesn't hurt to populate your understanding of the past with those kinds of characters, because I at least am sure they existed, because people have always had personalities. Right. Like they have always had ways of existing and interacting with one another. We're tremendously social creatures. Most of that doesn't make it into the record because it's not stuff that as ever under any circumstance is going to get written down. It's interactions that you have with people. It's your way, it's your manner of speaking. It's your facial expressions. It's like, kind of little habits that don't leave a lot of material trace. Like this kind of stuff, or if you do see it in the material record, you're likely to attribute it to something much more serious than it is. Like if you see patterns of fractures, right, in skeletal samples from a medieval cemetery, be like, oh, probably the result of work. But what if it was just like this dude was jumping off a bridge into the water, and they did this all the time for fun, and he just like broke his ankle.
He's really into that full contact football, and
this had to be something, because the first person to ride a horse, like the first person to look at that and be like, I'm jumping on the back of that, like that's an insane thing. You're just like, I'm jumping on the back of a fucking horse, and like, I mean, that guy almost certainly died like 10 seconds later, but like,
100%. Got his
to
head,
do
got
that.
his face
He's
kicked.
like, I'm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He either got his face kicked or he got bucked so hard that his neck snapped on impact with the ground. But regardless, it somebody had to do that.
People have always done shit like that.
Yeah, I think that like one of the things too about finding dads in the past too is it's like, well, who do we get to hear about, right? And so like the dads we get to hear about aren't dads, they're fathers. Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's always like some king who like doesn't even know his kid, like sent his kid out to court, like farmed him out somewhere else. They're like, yeah, and then they get mad at him in letters. Like, you know, we get a lot of father coded behavior, right? You know, like a lot of fathers being like, oh, you fucking lay about. Why aren't you here doing like X? And it's like, bro, I don't know you. Right? Like, who are you? Kind
you
of
sent
deal.
me to live here as a ward when I was 3.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, so the dads are peasants, right? You know, like the dads are merchants and shit. Like, you know, I bet the merchants were dadding down.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dad coded medieval behavior, Eleanor. I'm going to bounce this off you. Confraternities.
Oh my God, that is so dad coded because they're just like, just broing. Where it's like, now it's time. Now it's boys' time. It's the boys' zone, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep. We're gonna have a festival. Everybody's gonna get drunk. We're gonna have a feast. We're gonna get some roast duck, baby. We're getting some duck. I know a guy who can get us some duck from the marshlands. Like John, you're on eels. Yeah, like I got my guy down in the fens. Like this is
like mystery plays. Dad's putting on mystery plays. That's dad behavior.
The dads would love a mystery play. Oh my God. I look forward to it every year. Like, you know, I didn't think this year's rendition was that good. Like I thought that blah, 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 blah did it better. Like that's medieval dad shit. Roman dad stuff, I think would be like having weird pottery preferences. Like I don't like the Samian ware. Like there's like
this amphora, you just can't buy good amphora anymore.
No, ever since they started getting the garum from Tarragona, it's been shit. I like the garum from like that's
you might be getting yours from Libya like everyone else, but I actually prefer the ones that come from, you know, like absolutely.
I would say just like before we move on more to the medieval dads, I would say just like about the like historical dads. I think like the communal aspects of like the dad coded stuff that you're talking about where like it does take a village, you know, that was a lot more present back then. So there would have definitely been a lot of, you know, taking a village and, you know, maybe an uncle steps up or, you know, something like that, or, you know, just the village, you know, washerwoman or whatever, you know, stuff like that. And then also like, I don't know why, but I just thought about like the Roman emperors who were so insane about like the chariot races that they would have messengers run results to them to let them know what was happening while they were away or on campaign or something like that. And that to me is like, that's just like the most dad thing ever. Like dad's like, I got to find out the score of the fucking Michigan game. I swear to God, if they like dad's out like fighting, you know, like fighting off the Huns or whatever. He's like, I swear to God, if the Wolverines lose to the Buckeyes this weekend and are out of the playoffs, I'm going to fucking die.
Okay. That is an outstanding example because 100%. Dad's arguing about chariot races, and he fucking crashed on purpose. No, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. He took a goddamn dive. Like or like arguing. Roman dads getting in trouble over their gambling habits at the Coliseum. That's like I put down a little more than I should have. That was our olive oil money. Like
oh God. Yes. Yeah. It's so you brought it up a little bit. You know, let's talk about some medieval dads and keep it on brand. So like Eleanor, I'll turn to you real quick. We've been talking about the dad coded stuff. Like has anything from the Middle Ages, like, maybe popped into your head about this, like, pastimes or, just even like preferences or things like that you could think of that kind of sound along the same lines here?
Yeah, I mean, Patrick's already mentioned confraternities. So like the guys who do festivals, and this is a huge thing, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I think, maybe one of the things that we could say is actually maybe medieval dadliness is actually really approaching kind of like our new dadliness now. Like, I think that we had a kind of like blip in the kind of like Fordist and post-Fordist moment when things were really atomized. And when you had like really small nuclear families, there would be kind of less of the, dadding down in these kind of like meshed ways. But for medieval people who they get together and they do shit, right? Like, it's very dad. So your big festivals is certainly dad coded because someone's putting on the mystery plays, like someone's getting the food in, like someone's inviting the different alewives, right? Like, I mean, who is saying like, oh yeah, who's like putting up the stands? Like, that's going to be a big thing. Another dad coded behavior with this, as this is like a middle class thing, crossbow guilds.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
That is a really good, or like urban militias in general. Yeah. I feel like is a really like in Germany, like that is 100% like the weavers and the goldsmiths, like guys, like these guys are never gonna have to fight anybody.
No,
like, they just want to get together with the boys. They like don't touch my halberd. Like this is it's.
Like, oh, you can't touch my halberd. I have to go out with the boys and defend the city next weekend. It's like, it's 12:48 in Germany, dude. Like, no one is
but it's an excuse to like hang out with the boys on the city walls like one night a week, drinking ale. Right.
Yeah, everybody giving the one guy shit because his gambeson doesn't fit over his belly anymore. Like this is
yes.
Yeah, and like the crossbow guilds, it's like one step further because they're like, gotta hang out with the boys, gotta go to target practice, and then they're like, oh, me and the boys, honey, they're putting on a tournament in Frankfurt. Yes! Me and the boys.
I really wanted to go to the market with you that day, but
there's this crossbow tournament in.
So we're gonna go down there. I thought maybe it'd be, I'll bring you back something nice.
There's this really good quarrel maker in Augsburg, and me and some of the boys were thinking we'd go over and maybe just check it out and see what they're like. Yeah, it's like going to the Games Workshop store two towns over.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I think that it's got a lot of dad coded behavior in that you've got gadgets, right? Yep. You got hanging out with the boys. You've got boys weekend / boys trip, road trip to the other places. And again, the watching your back effect, right? Like it's all in the like, oh yeah, well, we got to be ready. Look, I'll be ready. I'll be on the walls with my crossbow when shit goes south. Plow, plickety plow, kind of. Yeah. So it's like incredibly dad coded, right?
Like medieval tactical dad.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Oh, yeah. When the balloon goes up, you'll be glad that I've been practicing, kind of,
Oh, my God. Oh, that's so good. That's so
and you
good.
Saying that reminds me of something that I saw that they discovered, like a Roman multi-tool, like in an archeological site.
No
I saw
fucking
it a few
way.
months back.
Oh,
that's so dad. Oh.
They discovered a multi-tool, and I was like, some kid gave that to his dad, and it was like, this is the greatest gift of all time. It had like a little spoon on it. Like,
hell yeah.
It honestly looked like a Coke spoon, but like still it was like
whatever dude.
Oh. That's awesome. Yeah. I know it's early modern, but a tercio, like you're just hanging out with your boy, like two of your boys, you're just like, that must have, you do actually probably have to fight them, but like, here's my tercio. Yeah. My two other boys hanging out. One of us has got a halberd.
I think go ahead, Patrick.
Sorry. No, go for it.
I was gonna say, like, probably also just like, the posses are also pretty dad coded. Like when like something goes wrong and you got to call up the posse comitatus, that's real dad hours where they're like, we got to get out there. We're going to get out there. We're going to find this guy. Right. Like, I bet that like, oh, we're going out. We're going to like put a stop to this shit, right?
Like Bob, how are you gonna find him? You don't know how to track. You don't have a dog. Like,
you'd be surprised. In my day, I could track. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna go out there and cut for sign like this.
Yeah.
I could absolutely cut for sign. Like, that's.
Can you imagine just the camaraderie in the complaining at like your liege lord calls you up and like you and the other like peasant dads, you're just like. And you just like go in there and you're like, God, I fucking hate that. I hate this. Oh my God, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go to the town, the castle 2 towns over, and like knock around some pikes with some other guys for 20 minutes. No, stop.
We're gonna sit our asses outside this castle for 3 months. Then they're gonna make a deal. We're gonna go home. We won't have gotten paid. And like as much fun as I have with the boys and as much fun as I had stealing that goose out of that village and plucking and cooking it. It's not a great use of my time.
So you know what? I bet some dad coded stuff is also like surrounding animal husbandry.
Oh yeah.
Like anyone who like bred dogs or something.
Yeah,
that's real dad coded, like, and when we're like coming up with breeds, in the Middle Ages, right? And like the guys who are like breeding hunting hounds and stuff like, oh man, that would be like that's so dad, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
I feel like also liking bulls, like having it like being like this fucking bull, you're not going to believe what this guy can do. Like look like this bull, look at this bull, fuck man. He's so good. Like that kind. I feel like standing around like talking about the bulls fucking seems like a real medieval dad thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Them going out for like the hunt, like they're like wandering through the the early morning fog, and they don't catch anything or can't shoot it because it's not whatever they can't kill the fox or whatever it is, but it's like you just go out there with your boys hanging out and you get to go out there and then you get to come back and be like, oh, I was this close, but it just I saw one but it wasn't big enough. I just didn't want to shoot it.
No, like, oh man, well that was the Lord's deer. If I was allowed. If I was allowed,
I would have taken it home. That 12-point, 12-point buck. I would have taken it home easy. But I don't want to get in trouble with the Lord.
So here's a specifically medieval question. Do you think like the common forest land would have been a dad coded space, like just the boys going out into the forest, like we're gonna get some firewood. We're gonna go hunting for truffles.
I think that's 100% like the dad zone because there's also like the fact that forests are like vaguely dangerous, right? So there's the flex of it because like what if there's outlaws in there? Who knows what magical boar might be in the woods, right? So it's like it's a real dude's rock opportunity. And, you can get in there, you can do the light hunting you're allowed. Like, you can come back with some rabbits or something like that. But also it's like a good excuse to like get out there and get amongst it. Cause like, the ladies aren't going into the woods, right?
No, you're doing something mildly useful. You're getting out of the house. You're probably with your boys and the space is like mildly off-putting. Like that's that perfect dad combination.
Yeah. That's what dad's
like going to a model airplane store.
So like hawking too as a part of that, like not falcons, right? Because falcons are on like the open range and hawks you can use in forests, right? So it's like and hawks are often associated with the lower classes as a result of that, and like lords are always like, oh, they're ignoble because they sneak up on things and you can use them in forests. But I could see the dads going out there being like, getting like, and everyone's like showing their hawk off, and being like, oh, well, I really think the best feed for hawks is like, oh no,
oh my God,
that is they would have so many opinions about the best feed for like hawks, pigs. Oh no, you can't just give them normal slop. You gotta fancy it up a little if you want the pigs to find the good truffle. They would.
See, this is the kind of shit that like it doesn't really exist in the sources, right? Like, or very rarely. Like, we would have to read probably like legal roles very carefully to find incidents when the boys going out went wrong. Like this would have like somebody shot somebody with a crossbow, somebody like, or something that often happens in the Middle Ages. Somebody falls off a cart, like a lot of accidental deaths due to cart stuff. I wonder how many of those were just the boys were having too good a time. Like that's if you wanted to go look for these things, that's how you would find them. But like, in my mind, I'm sure this shit happened. Like, I don't, and I don't think there's any harm in populating your vision of the past with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it a more vibrant and richer place while still being entirely plausible and entirely in keeping with the stuff that we know about the period. Like, it's no more or less of a distortion than any other reading of any other body of evidence is, I would say.
I would think it would be much weirder, much stranger if it wasn't a thing. Like if they hadn't been, like this, because as Eleanor was saying, we are still very atomized, but like there was a time when like they were atomizing it so much, like in the 50s and stuff and 60s and stuff. But like even then, like, I'm, might not see eye to eye with my grandparents or my dad, who is much older, on everything. But like, my dad still taught me, to love Star Wars, and he has very ridiculous opinions on like the best, he went to the University of Florida, the best football player, like, and oh, this coach sucks, it's like, it would be much more surprising to me if like they like, coming back from the joust, the dads weren't like, oh, well, I could have done better than Bob over there. He didn't even last one tilt. He fell off before he got the, like there, that seems insane to me that no one would like. I assume that women back then would have done that, let alone, dads or whatever. You're like, it's just,
there's 100% medieval mom culture too. Like, there are absolutely, like, we have been focused on the dads, but there is absolutely medieval mom culture that you might actually be able to see a little bit better in the sources, because of the concern with things like gossip and social reputation, where I think that, which strikes me as having been a more like mom coded set of things. So you might actually be able to get better access to that in terms of kind of reconstructing the social world. Just source wise.
Yeah, I think that, so for example, the stress that people have around women, that's the thing. So because like the dudes are constantly upset about the chicks hanging out, right? So it's like it's very dude behavior. So they'll be like, what are they talking about when they're washing clothes? Like, it's washing is this huge concern, because it's like the women all do washing together because it sucks and you need help, and they gossip, and everyone's like, oh no, like, you don't want to go down there while they're washing clothes. And it's like, this is a constant thing about like what the ladies are doing, right? Well,
for better or worse, like that, guys still do, like, why do they need three of them to go to the bathroom?
Yes.
It's like, what are you talking about in there? And I mean, the answer is the same thing that you talk about with your boys. You know, I mean, well, not exact same thing, but pretty much, same thing you guys talk about when you're going to find the pig or.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I suppose the difference is for women, there's a little bit less space for extracurriculars, right? So it's like, so the mom behavior usually centers around chores, because like that's just what being a woman is. Like, when you're a wife and mother in the Middle Ages, is like you're essentially a dishwasher, right? Like you're an appliance. So they still have like mom culture, and they still have friends and stuff, but there's gonna be less free time. Like, you're going to have less time to go out with the ladies, although, it certainly exists, and the girlies do go carousing, especially at like fairs and things like that. It certainly happens, but you get a little bit more evidence, I think, for women, which is ironic, but it's also centered around work. So yeah.
Because I think there is a leisure aspect to dadness through the ages. Right, like and leisure being something that is much more easily afforded to men than women. Like there's like even think about stereotypes of women in the Middle Ages is like, well, she does a lot of weaving, right? Like that's like a positive economic behavior, right? Like so this is being turned, like a woman turning her free time into something valuable for the household is positively coded. And I think the anxieties around women wasting their time or like spending their time doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, like far more present for women than for men in these kinds of records.
So that's why like women's hobbies are like embroidering and, weaving. I mean, brewing, certainly.
Yeah.
But even brewing, a thing that's supposed to bring in money for the family, right?
Exactly.
Like it's an economic activity.
Yeah. I think something to me that I keep thinking about on all these is that I bet like men and women, moms and dads, whatever, like feast days, market days, and like fairs, like just like the best time to like, you can people watch, you're out there, you can complain about this bread seller or this, this, I don't, armorer or blacksmith or whatever. Oh, I hope so-and-so's there, because they do the best, food or what, like just that would be like the way, like they're all together, everybody's together, and you just like have all these opinions. Like, I don't like so-and-so. I think he flirts with my wife too much. Like just like all these things that like are the same things that we, talk about now too. I mean, different degrees, obviously, because you're like, God, the meat at the store is so expensive. And you're like, oh, I'm never shopping at so-and-so's stand again because he charges, too much for the bread. Yeah. Just dads love to complain about the price of food.
That is
myself included.
Oh yeah. I'm 100. I'm like, I'm paying how much for a Little Debbie these days? Like you're telling me like Little Debbie, I'm having to deal with Little Debbie inflation. Treats, I feel like would be another popular topic for medieval dads. I feel like all dads love a treat, and medieval dads would be no exception. A sweetmeat, perhaps. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Just my personal revulsion to that.
It's gross. I mean, I feel a lot of medieval food pretty fucking gross. By
hope you like almonds, standards. Like that's all I can say, right?
Yeah. Almonds. Baked fish,
cinnamon in like savory foods. Way too much
beans.
Cinnamon in
like
savory foods.
A lot of broad beans.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
rough.
Like
a rough.
Oh
eat.
Man, I can't imagine that people weren't doing that. Like everything we know about human interaction, like it. That just seems, it would be wild to me if like, people in the Middle Ages weren't, there's my favorite Cooper. There's my favorite, whatever. Like this guy sucks, so-and-so at the joust. He was, he's too drunk.
That guy,
he's not a lunch pail jouster. No, he's not a 9 to 5.
Yeah. This guy's like, all flash.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. John. Knight so and so. He just has fancy armor. Yeah. Like that's
that guy does not take care of his horses. His horse is so fucking fat. Like he's not exercising it. Like
100%
the horses, just everybody complaining about it. Yeah. Well, yeah, that, we've got a lot of that. Before we go, I guess, we always do love to name some guys here. So, like, just in your minds, Patrick and Eleanor, who are some, like, dads of the Middle Ages that, might have been at least cool to hang out with, if not, not good people.
I don't know about cool to hang out with, but I feel like Edward the First was a big time, had some dad energy. Like his disappointment in Edward the Second is extremely dad coded. Like that, like that boy should have done better. You know what I mean? And
here's a medieval king who is one. Henry the Second's a dad.
Oh, he really is.
He really, like, especially, like John being like his boy, where he's like, "You're my boy, John. It's you and me." And then like doing things like being like, well, son, you got to go where your talents lie. Why don't you go out and joust? Here's some money. Go out and That is a really, really good call.
God, who would be another good one? I feel like a lot of artisans. I like without being able to name guys. I feel like there a lot of artisans are like
dads.
Dad guys, like basically medieval burgers. Strong dad coded stuff. I feel like it's a pity that we don't have more of those names off the top of our heads. So like I can describe the types of guys who are likely to have been dads, but not the names themselves. I feel like I'm coming up short here.
Yeah, because it's gonna be, I think, especially burgers, it's gonna be kind of like, you know, people who are in cities who have like a little bit of extra cash, they've got a little bit of extra free time. Like they're going to dad down really hard. And it's like, that's the trouble with the medieval period, is that we can generalize about people like that, but we can't name names, you know?
Yeah. Not without doing the like incredibly painstaking work of going through archives. And like
I'm going through the archives to find out whomst was like the best crossbow guild member, like just so that I can name a dad.
Though honestly, I'd be lying if I said that's not a book I'd read.
Yeah.
I would read that book about dadding down in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Well, you know, some longbowman came back from France and was like, I'm the greatest shot in history. I've felled, you know, so many French knights in the mud, blah. Like, you know, that guy's telling that story for the rest of his fucking life.
Those are names that you could actually find because of the database that includes all of the available evidence, all of the names and contract links of English soldiers from the 100 Years' War. Like a lot of those muster rolls survive, and a lot of the contracts survive. So you could actually go and find that dude and be like, I'm guessing this guy was a dad.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I feel like, you know, who was I thinking of? Charles IV, Holy Roman Emperor would maybe be one, because, like, you know, he's just trying so hard, and his sons are just so fucking dumb.
Oh yeah, like he's
so fucking dumb.
God bless him. He did try, like, you know, and he was all like, "Hey kids, you know who's a really cool saint?" Right? Like, because his thing is like saints, right? So he's all like, "I think Saint Sigismund is really great. What do you think about that?"
Here's this is right straddling the medieval early modern border, but the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian. Loved fancy shit, loved to try, loved to like reach beyond his means. Huge ambitions for all of his children. Seems to have actually been like not a terrible dad as these guys go. Like actually spent time with his kids and seems to have molded and shaped them in some ways. Was a big grandson guy, like didn't get to spend a lot of time with him, but loved his grandson. Like the man tried. Like he failed mostly, but he tried. Really loved fighting, but was bad at it. Like,
that's so dad coded, yeah.
That reminds me now of the Habsburg. I forget, there was one in the lead up to the 30 Years' War, who was like really into astrology and alchemy.
Was it Was it Rudolph?
Rudolph, yeah. He had his own like cabinet of curiosities thing, and that puts me in mind to think about like monks or other people in the Middle Ages who would have like done like with science or alchemy or stuff. Like, you know, those guys, like, they just have the most insane ideas for like how to mix up the piss right or whatever get to like nail, you know, they don't do the piss chart right. You gotta spin it clockwise instead of counterclockwise. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, on my phone here, I'll try to show you guys through the thing. I have Rudolph on the back of my phone. I have one of his fruit portraits.
Yeah.
You know, like hashtag just check things, right? Like, my Slovak granddad's name was Rudolph too, so it's it's one of them things, you know.
That's perfect.
Well, there you go. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. Patrick, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to us about a wide variety of dads, and plug your stuff. What do you got going on?
So I am still making Tides of History. I'm doing episodes on the Iron Age right now across Eurasia. I finished the first 12-episode season of the Pursuit of Dadliness, which is available everywhere now. Had a ton of fun making it. I'm hoping to come back to it in the new year with some new episodes. I am working on another book. It's called Lost Worlds, The Rise and Fall of Human Societies from the Ice Age to the Bronze Age, which small book, small topic. So
yeah.
obviously moving very fast through it.
Yeah, you're just gonna knock that out in a month, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. No, it's fucking killing me. I'm having fun writing it, but it's much more difficult than anything else I've ever done. So that's what I'm doing. I cannot thank you guys enough for having me on to talk about this stuff. This was super, super, super fun.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you were here. Glad you came on. Eleanor, do you have anything new going on with yourself right now?
I've got the usual, I guess speaking of dads, on my personal Patreon on the end of the month, I'm going to be interviewing my dad about how you fucking make one of me, I guess.
Hell yeah.
So that's going to be like the special Christmas content this month. Just like, I got a real dad. Let me just fucking say that. Like my dad.
Capital D dad.
Capital D dad. Yeah. So there'll be that coming up over there. Gonna do a thing certainly by the end of the month also over on the blog about my top medieval books of the year. So, check out going-medieval.com for that. Otherwise, you can check out my very serious and worthy podcast, Gone Medieval. And, I'm on the socials at Going Medieval. It's Christmas. Buy my fucking book, The Once and Future Sex for the People in Your Life. How about that? What about that? Yeah.
Yeah, and you can find me, Luke is Amazing, wherever my old show, People's History of the Old Republic, is about Star Wars. You guys know you can check it out wherever you're listening to this if you want to hear more about that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.